This is Keep the Faith Ministry News. I'm Hal Mayer. Unregulated schools are a breeding ground for terrorism, a senior British official has warned, as the government faces continued questions over its ability to crack down on extremist mosque-run madrasas. Isolated communities within the UK posed the greatest threat of incubating terrorism, said the country's counter-terrorism police coordinator Neil Basu. After 4 major attacks in the UK in 2017, he said that authorities were shifting their focus to the threat in our midst after stemming the flow of disaffected young Britons to fight in Syria. Segregated and isolated communities, unregulated homeschooling are a breeding ground for extremism and future terrorism, the officer said. A government-commissioned report found evidence of coordinated, deliberate and sustained action to introduce an intolerant and aggressive Islamic ethos in schools. It found that some of those at the center of the dispute were involved in out-of-school education centers. Separately, education inspectors set up a unit in January of 2016 to identify schools operating illegally, including unregistered Islamic madrasas, which have resulted in 38 being handed warning notices and ordered to change their practices or face closure. 10 of them had a religious character. The unit has identified 291 schools operating illegally, which include institutions promoting Islamic, Christian, and Jewish values, but with few checks on the activities of teachers and governing authorities. Schools only have to register with authorities if they offer full-time education for more than 5 students. Schools operating illegally have been found to run part-time classes for more than about 18 hours a week and effectively become the full-time education provider for its students. Senior officials had been calling on the government in 2015 to do more to protect the estimated 6,000 children in unregistered schools. The government is yet to respond to a consultation on plans to register and inspect out-of-school educational centers. Khalid Mahmood, the opposition Labour MP for a Birmingham constituency, said background checks on religious teachers should be mandatory. The current head of the inspection regime, Amanda Spielman, said teaching the young about British values is critical to developing that resilience, she said in a speech in June. And by that I do not mean superficial displays or tick box exercises. Islamic extremism is creating the emphasis on regulating homeschools, which would certainly include Christian homeschools. The time is now when Christian parents who want their children in homeschool to avoid the cultural corruptions being taught in public schools will be seen as isolating them and radicalizing them. This applies not just to Britain, but also to other Western countries like Australia, Canada, and the United States, where homeschooling is widely practiced. One wonders whether it is wise to start families in these last moments of Earth's history. When we reach the standard that the Lord would have us reach, worldlings will regard Seventh-day Adventists as odd, singular, straight-laced extremists. That's Fundamentals of Education, page 289. This is Keep the Faith Ministry News. Thank you for watching.